All right, welcome. This is day 4 with this horse. He's a big bad dude just standing here. You know, he's all over me. He's nipping at my arms, nipping at my tools. So what we're gonna do today, and this is his first day in this indoor too, so there's a lot going on. He's a high energy dude. I'm gonna put him to work here pretty quick. Right off the bat, move him around. He's a high energy dude, and he'd happily eat your lunch with a smile on his face, you know, and he's just a 2-year-old. So he has learned, it seems, from what he's telling me, he's learned how big and pushy he can be. So a lot of what you're going to see me doing here is first see, is he okay with his surroundings, his environment, being in a new place, being in an indoor arena. Right now he doesn't seem too concerned. He was just more interested in nipping at me and nipping at my tools and moving his feet and not wanting to stand still. So I'm going to put him to work right away here with what we've done the past 3 sessions. Okay. So again, today you're going to see me use a lot of the same 3 essential yields. I control his nose and his shoulders a lot as from more of a dominance or a herd leader type of a standpoint. And I'm going to control the hindquarters for, you know, if he were to run away. So for safety, for shaping, and for relaxation. So as we get him moving around, you'll see me start to shape some things up using those 3 yields: hindquarters, forequarters, and the forward yield. For controlling the front quarters, what I really need to do is influence his shoulder and get his shoulder yielding to me. But to do that, I'm not going to go straight to his shoulder. I'm going to actually control his nose to control his shoulder. Okay. Now that's this instance, this case, this horse in particular, specific. All right, this is for like your bad boy horses, like this big guy. If I were to go straight to his shoulder, as I'm stepping his hindquarters around, if I were to go straight to his shoulder right here, he could easily counterflex and come straight over the top of me. Okay, so I need to control his nose to get to his shoulder. So that's really important. Again, don't swing straight for that shoulder. Control their nose. And the hindquarter yield, same thing. I'm going to start by yielding his nose, not his hindquarters. If I go straight to his hindquarters, I could get kicked. Okay, he doesn't know much. This is just my 4th session. We're just halter breaking him still. When we get the halter on him, he has no idea how to operate in a halter. He's doing much better than the first 2 sessions you guys saw with him. But again, if I go straight to the hindquarters, I could get myself kicked right in the face. So yield the front quarters over by taking control of the nose, push the body forward. When he starts putting his hip towards me, I'm going to take his nose, start with his nose, and draw that towards his tail. And then I'll take hold of his hindquarters and push him. Okay, that's a big safety piece you guys don't want to miss. I'm going to do that same thing on this side. As he starts to get defiant and snake his head at me a little bit, I'm going to take a hold of his nose, then take his hindquarters. Then I'll control his nose to send his front quarters through. Okay, that's the dominance piece. Now if you take a big, confident horse like this, and you go too fast too soon with trying to, you know, if you get too aggressive with them, you're going to end up losing their confidence. All right, so you don't want to get too aggressive with them. There's a balance here. And I hope you guys are seeing that over the course of these 4 days. You know, why is this guy going so slow through this stuff? This is only his 4th session. Look how much better it is. The reason I'm not going to get too aggressive with him the first day, even if he is a big pushy dude, is because I don't want to take that confidence that he has in me and in other people. I don't want to knock that out of him. All right, you can also, for a horse like this, if you get too aggressive with them too quickly, they're going to mentally shut down. So every time you get them out, you might be able to catch them still. A lot of times you won't. You might be able to catch them, but they'll just mentally shut down. They'll be checked out, and that can become dangerous when it comes time to riding them. Because what they'll do is they'll mentally check out. You'll ride around thinking everything's great, and all of a sudden they check back in, and you're laying in the dirt and you didn't know what happened. So Again, don't get too aggressive too soon. Now that also being said, don't go too slow. If you're going too slow, these guys are going to be happy to eat your lunch, and they're going to eat it again the next day. And this is what this guy seems to have figured out. He came here thinking, you know, if he rears up or pulls or throws his tail into me or runs his shoulder through me, that he's going to get me to back off. They don't just do that unless they feel threatened, and since he didn't feel threatened, it tells me he's probably learned that he can be pushy. Good boy. So right here, I can start isolating the different body parts. Now that he's getting a better understanding of this stuff, just these 3 simple yields, we can really start to isolate things, which it's gonna allow us to shape things up when it's time to start riding this horse. And these little pieces that we can shape up relate to the finished product. So as he's going around to the left here, I'll wait till you guys can see me. As he's going around to the left here, can I activate my rein and flex his nose, but not have him fall in on the circle? And the reason he can do that for a couple steps before he loses it is because what you've seen the first 2 sessions, and I didn't tape the 3rd one, but in the first 3 sessions we've been doing lots of forward. There he's flexing, but not falling in on the shoulder. Forward with the hind quarter yield, and then swinging the shoulders with the 4/4 yield that stands those shoulders up. Okay, that's where this is coming from. That's why this is happening so quickly. It's just consistency, releasing at the right time, balancing confidence and control. Okay, so that forward motion stopped. Before going to the hindquarters, I'm going to clear his shoulders out of the way and then push him forward. Okay, a safety thing there, again, so you don't get yourself run over. You're still developing confidence and control, and that's more of a control piece right there. Hindquarters, bring the front quarters through. Being consistent in rolling his hindquarters and having him continue to go forward through that, that's going to turn into going forward into the bit one day, and having confidence to ride into that bridle, having the understanding to roll those hindquarters. Okay. Let me show you some more pieces of shaping all this up, how it all relates to the finished product. Watch as he rolls his hindquarters through here. He's stepping forward into it. And again, I don't want him to pivot on that front. I don't want him to pivot on that front. I want him to stay light on that inside front. Then you have access to the inside front, so you can cause that front foot to reach and cause the other foot to cross over. That's a turn on the haunches. As we roll the hindquarters here, once he starts to engage that outside hind and step under with the inside hind, you can take a hold of that front foot, reach it across, and cause that other front foot to cross. Good boy. Okay, what we're also doing, we're setting him up for leads. Okay, we're setting him up to balance for the correct lead. So watch this. Oops, got a little distracted there and fell apart. We're just going to start fresh. Right there, you guys just saw me own my space. It was much less and much less dramatic than the first 2 sessions you saw with this horse. I just owned this space, and he stepped out and yielded his whole front end to me. So that tells me he's starting to accept me as some kind of a herd leader here. What a good boy. But again, back to shaping up leads at a walk. Again, with a 2-year-old horse on this size of a circle, I prefer to do this stuff at a walk. You don't always have the choice. Sometimes they'll get scared or impulsive and they'll go forward, but we try to break them back down to the walk. I do anyways. on this tight of a circle, especially being a 16-3, 17 hand horse. All right, so we roll the hindquarters, and encourage forward motion as the hindquarters are rolling. Let's keep that going forward. Then can we engage that outside hind? Okay, that's your canter departure. There it was, did you guys see it? Engaging that outside hind and swinging the shoulders. There's your lead change. Engage the outside hind, swing the shoulders. All this stuff in just 3 yields. These aren't even all the yields yet, guys. This is just hindquarters, forequarters, and forward. We still have back, up, and drift that we haven't covered yet. Something about what I'm doing is I'm really taking charge of my space. I'm really owning this space, especially for a horse like this. What I don't want to do is circle this horse or try to yield it and go walk backwards, because you can see immediately I'm pulling him on top of me. And a horse like this, he'd quickly learn to crowd your space and happily do it. Not only would he crowd your space, but he'd take that defensive posture that we talked about in the last lesson and start to tip his nose out and dive his shoulder right in on top of me. Again, another defensive or even a dominant posture over me or the handler.